Since that last movie was so destructive that it nearly took down the whole garrison, why don't we look at something more decent? I'm sure David's got us another good request. On second thought, maybe I'll just go with Arthur's request first. Skin deep? What's that?
That's amazing.
I know I haven't had one that lasted this long since I was 12.
No, it's me. I know it's you.
This doesn't look great. Oh, wait. It's the name of a webcomic? My bad. And he doesn't seem to have any negative feelings for this one, unlike last time. So maybe we'll be in luck. Let's talk about Skin Deep. Skin Deep was created by Corey Bing, who thought up of the idea for this series during the early 2000s and eventually started putting out pages in 2006. So it's been around for about 10 years now. She created it out of her interest in mythology, music, and a couple other things that helped shape the kind of world she would end up creating. And as I do happen to enjoy fantasy at times, maybe this one will be another one to add to the list of things to read. That and Two Kinds, I should get started on UberQuest, and... Alright, for this review we're only going to look at Orientations, the first major story arc it seems, so let's have it! August 2004. Our main character, Michele Jocasta, is just settling into her new college dorm room as her mom comforts her with the hope that she'll be able to make friends here, as she couldn't in high school. Michele isn't too sure of herself, but you know what they say, mother knows best. Well, after unpacking, we meet her new dorm mate, Muriel, who's rather eccentric. Wanna bunk the beds? I'm pretty sure they have to be specially made to— Oh, nope, they did it anyway. Sure looks stable. But hey, an NES. Nice. Apparently they've already bonded enough to where the first week is over and they appear to be good friends. We're only on the 5th page too. It just seems a bit too quick if you ask me. Well, then again, we do see that with Muriel, Michele was able to befriend some more people. First, we have Jin Finn, who is apparently more eccentric than Muriel, and Gregory Tagos, who is the shy one of the group. But one day, she passes by a cloaked figure who drops a medallion of some kind. She tries to return it to him, though not before getting a strange feeling from it, but finds him already gone. Who wears a cloak, you ask? Well, it is a fantasy series, but fair thing to ask if you live in a modern city. She takes it home, and eventually it starts acting up, and then after touching it, she transforms. Michele, my belle. Oh no, it's another Ukiara moment! She wakes up by some lake where she discovers she's become a lion! Actually, she's a sphinx of some kind, but that's aside the point. Appropriately enough, she is quite shocked by this sudden turn of events. She tries to keep calm and think, but then she hears someone nearby. Chasing after it, it's revealed to be Greg? Jeepers, they're all furry! What sort of madness is this? Well, as we enter part 2 of this story arc, we see that Muriel and Jim are also strange creatures, which causes Michele to faint. This also gives us a small flashback where it seems at one point in her life, she actually has transformed before and she would often play with her father this way, just as he would transform too. Interesting. Then why would she not remember ever being able to do this at all? Eventually, after she wakes up and she panics some more, they explain at least that the mythological creatures, like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness, and whatnot, they aren't just folklore, they are real. My life has gone from alright to crappy fantasy fanfic in 3 hours. Hey, don't be so negative. This comic's still in the early stages at this point. Jim then goes over each of their forms. He's a griffin, Muriel's a nixie, and Greg is a satyr. While she appears to be a sphinx, it's said that they've been extinct for centuries. Okay, so part of her character development will be figuring out her family history and whatnot. Alright, as for the medallion, it's supposed to cast an illusion of humanity so they can keep a human form. But they do say if they marry a human, the spell transfers to the child so they don't need to use it. So why did giving her the medallion break it then? Sure enough, giving a child one will break it. Even after going years without shifting, the medallion will cause one to be able to turn. So in other words, it's like anyone can be one of these strange creatures and never know it unless they get a medallion that lets them do so. Seems questionable given how blood relations work, but nothing too complex so far. As to why the Sphinxes went extinct, well, it's due to the Great War. No relation to Slightly Damned, where the Sphinxes and dragons fought each other and were both wiped out. All because the dragons were jealous of their incredible power. Either way, Michele refuses to believe this is all real and wants to go home, to wake up from her dream. But they hear something coming from outside. Something smelling of wet dog hair and peanut butter? Holy God!
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter
No, not here, not now. It turns out to be the Missouri Monster? Well, I looked it up and sure enough, it's a real folklore, which is cool that they're using a large variety of creatures and even those you might not have known about. Judging from the bloodstains, it's very interested in wanting Michele for some reason, but Jim stops it. That's not going to work. The Momo's fur is too thick for Jim to get at him with his claws. When did you become a giant fanged monsters of the Ozarks expert? Well, it wasn't exactly what I was going to say, but yeah, that. Since they don't think setting it on fire will kill it, given the stories of it surviving all those things, they tried luring it to the river to drown it. Just in time as Jim was getting his hairy butt kicked. Michele starts panicking as the creature attacks, but this time it's Greg and Muriel to the rescue, as Greg holds him with his horns long enough for Muriel to use what I'm guessing is Nixie magic. Speaking of, her tail can split into 2 legs, and well, I guess it's something Nixies can do. Of course, I'm just used to how One Piece covers its creatures from lore to think that mermaids could do this too, but I guess I can assume that is an interpretation, while this is more close to what folklore and myths would have it. They check on Jim and find him badly wounded, but then Michele does something she didn't know she could do. Healing. Well, after all that, they would return to human form the next day. Poor Michele is bummed that she can't live a normal life now that she found out she's some sort of mythical creature. Do you know how lucky you are? My grandfather died after giving me this ugly piece of crap without explaining a damn thing. I panicked and broke it the first day. Do you know what happens when you break a medallion? You summon a demonic king who wants to drain the world of mana back to his secret planet of elves? No, he can't become a normal anymore, as you only get 1 medallion, apparently. So he has to be like Grover from the Percy Jackson movies and wear a very heavy disguise. So now Greg is upset that they've been trying to help her get used to things while she does nothing but put herself in self-wallow. She later asks Muriel how she can maintain her optimism even after learning what she was. The answer? Just roll with it and give things a chance. Putting yourself down won't change what has happened. But we have a problem. We have some peeping toms outside the window. Dude, check it out. This chick is totally not wearing pants. You know, I wasn't going to say anything about that, seeing she's become part animal and all. But if you're gonna do that, then you, sir, are a perverted demon. Yeah, these 2 are demons, apparently. But why are they here, and what do they want with Michele? Part 4 time, and now Jim is explaining to her how transformation works. With the medallions, they get the illusion of a human form, but not only can they have their true form, but a mid-form as well, which is something we've seen with them a few times now. So it's like Zoan Devil Fruit users? Wow, that's the second One Piece parallel I made. She does ask how, if the human thing is an illusion that she feels like she walks on 2 all the time, and a bunch of other things that wouldn't make sense in this case. And he just answers that it's advanced magic stuff, which translates to, we don't need to explain that much, just roll with it. Fair enough, we let Oda get away with this all the time, so... I do like how they address the no clothes thing. makes for a good laugh given how certain species are. Anyway, the reason they came to this cliff is to teach her how to fly. Yeah, great idea! Teach the scared teenager who just found out about her Sphinx bloodline to fly when she barely can walk on fours as it is. Meanwhile, Greg and Muriel talk about the Momo again, and how in the stories it was never known to kill anyone, yet wonder if something made it attack them then. Well, since Michele is going to be a defiant kitty and not jump, Jim has to distract her and throw her himself. Our hero! Well, fortunately, she manages to get the hang of gliding rather quickly. Must be instinct. At least she's happy that she got to fly for a short bit at least. Anyway, Greg is still questioning about the Momo, and Muriel suggests meeting with Eustace at the Avalon about what he knows. They're meant to be safe houses for beings like them, and are often in abandoned buildings. Eustace is some kind of fox man, or a totem fox according to the character page. Totem animals are tied with their respective animal, and if their animal goes extinct, so do they. They ask him about the Momo, and he seems to confirm that they're normally big friendly creatures, which would mean it might have been possessed. Marshall, who I guess is a totem raven, notes that evil spirits can make people do anything, and they seem to be associated with demons in this case. Well, knowing the two we saw earlier, they must be both creepy and asshole-ish. At any rate, they can't really confirm nor deny anything else, so Eustace tries selling some charms that might help in warding them off. Classy. During another flying session with Jim, he ends up explaining to her what he feels about the whole normal thing. Normal depends on your definition, Michele. I was born this way. I hatched from an egg. Me best friend is a lion. I used to date a Pegasus. Am I making my point here? Yes. Yes, you are. Everyone will have their own perception on things, so it helps to think of it as a normal occurrence in life. Maybe that's why you're becoming a favorite character. Also, by this point, the art style has gotten a lot cleaner. It still keeps the refined style that makes it unique from other series I read. He even goes over how Greg hates being a satyr because of how he had to grow up, Muriel having parent troubles after they learned what she was, and how his green hair is a curse in his family. I guess in this universe, anime hair really is a phenomenon. Still, if she did stay human forever, she'd never be able to be what she can truly be. And now it seems she's starting to accept things a bit better. Well, that's just swell. And a big scary dragon appears! And it takes Michele away. Uh-oh. The final part to Orientations begins with Jim chasing after the dragon and trying to stop it. Naturally, it seems the dragon can talk too, and it only seems interested in her and not him. But he's stopped by a legion of ravens! Guess Marshall can control them too, who try to free her, but it still doesn't work. To make matters worse, Muriel and Greg are attacked by the Momo again, and since Michele is nowhere to be seen, Jim has to help them out. The Momo stops as Marshall returns to them, and of course, it turns out the demons from before were responsible for the Momo attacks. Well, whatever they need her for, they disappear, having completed the distraction. Also, Marshall saw through the lie that Jim gave to him and Eustace. See, they made it a big deal that extinct beings coming back would raise questions, so they figured it'd be best not to let them know right away, but they could easily tell being totem animals and all. Of course, you know, adults tend to always be more powerful and smart enough to outwit a bunch of dumb teenagers. It's tradition, really. The last direction he saw the dragon take her was Fiddler's Cave, and sure enough, there she is, tied up and unable to move. I am the Blood Carver. I will try to make your imprisonment as comfortable as possible. I am not an evil person. Yes, says the dragon whose name begins with blood. Well, while he goes off to meet the Demon Brothers, Eustace arrives to free Michele from her bindings. The only way out is where the dragon is, and well, we learned some things. It seems the dragon has to deliver her to someone he knows, while Azrael here wants to take her to his mistress. But more importantly, this person the dragon is under orders from is her father?
What a twist!
Well, actually, it's unclear as of this moment, but still, Michele ain't having any of it and tries shouting at them, which doesn't go well, at least at first. Her emotions cause her powers to activate when the demon brothers try going after her, and it seems to kill the two of them? Okay, no, it just sent them back to wherever they came from, which causes Azrael to retreat. In her dreams, we see her father again, now looking like the kind of sphinx you see in Egypt. And it seems there's more stuff about the Great War that he's trying to relay to her, but she's too young to get. Still, I don't get much else of what's going on with her, but isn't that what makes a good incentive? Wanting to know more about something you're curious about? Further including this bit where after the dragon lets her and Eustace go, as the friends show up to get them back, Bloodcarver returns to the cave to find the blonde guy from the shop. His name is Gabe, and he is an angel, it seems, and the cloaked guy we saw before, given what he's been saying a lot, is a shade of Michelle's father. Ooh. He gives him to the demon brothers, who plan to take him back to their mistress, and poker night? Well, that's something you don't hear every day. Angels and demons playing poker. As we start wrapping up the arc with things setting up for later, the friends worry that Michele might not want to be with them anymore, but then we see that she is going to try and move on, but with the new knowledge she's gained. Then, as we see her achieving her mid-form, she sends an email to Mom. So, orientations was actually pretty good. It sort of falls into teen drama stuff, which isn't always something that will grab me even with fantasy elements, but so far they managed to lighten up the mood with a well-likable cast. I'm liking the premise and the developing plot that is hatching as it goes along. I'm very interested to see where things go from here. I noticed that there were more story arcs, but they don't appear to be multi-parted like this one. So I can't say for sure how this will play out because I didn't peek ahead like I did with Two Kinds. I do know the art style will continue to improve if this arc alone is any indication, but story is something I'm more interested in at this time. Still, I think in July we'll make our return to this comic and see if the trend can continue. And we'll even look at Two Kinds again and 2 more comics I haven't reviewed. I already mentioned one earlier, but the other? Well, let's just say it has had some music videos done by its own creator. In any case, good pickings this time. Next time we go back to dog films though, so see you then.